Good morning, students. So we'll be continuing with the last, that is your previous chapter which I was talking to you, that is your rural life in society. So in the last class I gave you about 4 classifications of land revenue system, but now I have reduced it to 3. Okay, so whenever a question of land revenue policy or system comes to you, you have to mention only these 3 which I have given you in this picture. Okay, so see to it. The first one is your permanent settlement, second one is your Rotwari system, third is your Mahalwari system. Okay, so these 3 is very important. I have reduced it as per your textbook, because this Jagirdari, Zamindari, all systems is coming under permanent settlement only. So that is what I have been reduced for you. So now we'll go in detail about each and every settlement. Okay, so we'll start with the permanent settlement today, and we'll go with its salient features and all other things about the permanent settlement today. Okay, so our main topic for today's section is about the permanent settlement only. Okay, under this topic of permanent settlement, 3 important persons are playing a very important role. The first one is about Robert Clive. Okay, so when Robert Clive obtained his Diwani of Bengal, Bihar, Orissa in 1765, okay, in the year 1765 he got the Diwani of 3 important states like Bengal, Bihar and Orissa for an annual settlement. Okay, so annual settlement means what? Yearly settlement he got for the land revenue system. And following him came the Warren Hastings, and Warren Hastings changed this annual resistance, that is your annual settlement, as quinquennial, that is called your 5-year settlement. Okay, so he changed from annual to quinquennial, that is your 5-year settlement change pantar yaar Warren Hastings. Okay, so Robert Clive yearly settlement கொடுத்தாரு, and அதை சேஞ்ச் பண்ணி வாரன் ஹாஸ்டிங் 5 இயருக்கு ஒன்ஸ் அதாவது ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணால் போதும் லேண்ட் ரெவன்யூன்னு சொல்லிட்டு he bought a new rule. Okay, and following him came was about Cornwallis. Okay, so Cornwallis என்ன பண்ணார்னா அந்த 5-year செட்டில்மெண்ட்டை he changed into decennial. The word decennial means what? 10. Okay, that is he changed into a 10-year land revenue system. Okay, so this was all about the 3 important types of land revenue system. That is, from annual it was turned into quinquennial, then it was turned into decennial. Okay, so finally in 1793 after Cornwallis it was been known as the permanent settlement. Okay, so the decennial was called as your permanent settlement. Okay, so the permanent settlement was actually made in Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, Varanasi division of Uttar Pradesh, UP means Uttar Pradesh, and northern Karnataka, which roughly covered about 19% of the total area of British India. Okay, so wherever the British India were being spread, over that 19% were under this permanent settlement decision only. Okay, and now the salient features of permanent settlement will see. The zamindars were recognized as the owners of land as long as they paid the revenue to the East India Company regularly. That is, according to this first point. Okay, so zamindars வந்து தன்னோட land revenues வந்து கரெக்டாக ரெகுலராக if they are paying, that seems that zamindars will be called, okay, will be revealed as the landlords. Okay, unless and until they are paying their land revenue regularly. Okay, அவங்க ரெகுலராக ப்ரே பண்ணுற வரைக்கும் okay. If they are not paying regularly, they will not be called as your landlord. Okay, that is your first point. Second point is the zamindars acted as an agent of government for the collection of revenue from the cultivators. Okay, so zamindars were called as landlords in the first point. In second point they are saying that British East India Companyக்கு தேவையான amount of land revenue it was collected from the zamindars only, from the cultivators. அதாவது cultivators கொடுக்குற amount, okay, land revenue cultivators கிட்ட இருந்து கலெக்ட் பண்ணி zamindars வாங்குவாங்க, and zamindars கிட்ட இருந்து யார் வாங்குவாங்கன்னா British East India Company will take from zamindars. Okay, it is a chain reaction. The next salient feature is the amount of revenue that the zamindars had to pay to the company was firmly fixed and would not be raised under any circumstances. Okay, so in the sentence, okay, in the point kind of meaning what means. Okay, so zamindars ஒரு amount fix பண்ணி வச்சிருப்பாங்க. Okay, that is your land revenue will be fixed by the British East India Company, and that much amount only the zamindars have to pay as the land revenue to the government. Okay, so that amount will not be increased at any circumstance, that is at any condition, that land revenue will not be increased, was an assurance given by the government to the land revenue, that is your collector, that is your zamindars. Fine. So next point is they gave about 10/11 of the revenue collected by them from the cultivator to the government. Okay, so zamindars வந்துட்டு cultivators கிட்ட இருந்து 11% collect பண்றாங்கன்னா from that 10% of that collection will be only given to the government by the zamindars, and the rest 1% is for them and to that of the peasants. Okay, so 11% ல 10% தான் கவர்மெண்ட்க்கு போகும், மீதி இருக்கிற 1% will be given to whom? The zamindars. Okay ma, clear for you? Next point is the zamindars would grant patta. Patta is what? A written document, okay, a written agreement to the ryots. Ryots meaning, and the word underline பண்ணி அப்படியே எழுதுங்க சைடில். Ryots means a Indian farmer or a tenant peasant, okay. So landக்கு தேவையான amount of they are giving a rent, and by the giving that amount of rent they will be cultivating the on that particular land. It is called as what? Ryot, okay. Those persons are those peasant farmers of our India is called as ryots, okay. So these zamindars will be giving that grand patta to those ryots, and those ryots will become the tenants, okay. And since they will be considered as the tillers of soil, okay. So since ryots are, that is our Indian peasants are doing the tilling, that is your cultivation of the soil, okay, cultivating on our soil for the production of raw materials. So they also should have to be given some particular responsibility, that is like some honor to the peoples, that is our Indian farmers, okay. And that honor was the name given as ryots, okay. They were given patta. Next is all judicial powers were taken away from zamindars, okay. So zamindars were not having any power like selling or buying of a new land, okay. So all those judicial powers and any law over the farmers they can't pass, okay. The zamindars don't have any rules to oblige a person from his work, okay. That is all the judicial powers which were taken out from the zamindars, okay. Now we'll deal with the merits ma. So under this system many of the wastelands and forests became cultivatable lands, okay. So since all the lands were coming into use, what happened was all the lands were being used up. So then what happened, India was no left with the wasteland, okay. So all the wastelands were also being used up by the zamindars for the process of cultivation under the British East India Company. Next is the zamindars became the owner of land. So since zamindars were actually taking the lands under their control and they're giving the peasants as the name like ryots under the tenantship, okay. So those zamindars became the landlords, okay. Next what happened is the zamindars were made free from the responsibility of providing justice, okay. So I have already said they don't have any judicial power. That is this third point also reveals. Fourth point is the zamindars remained faithful to the British government, that is the zamindars were working under British government, so they were very sincere and very honored to the government, okay. Next point is the system secured a fixed and also a stable income for the British government, okay. So since a good income and outcome was going over the peasants, zamindars and British government, a good income was also a fixed and a stable income expected by the British government was also paid to the government by the zamindar, okay, through the peasants. So all this was leading the permanent settlement method to be as a very good settlement method. And now we'll see about the demerits of this settlement type. The first point of the demerit is the British government had no direct contact with the cultivators, okay. So government of the British East India Company was not in a direct contact with the peasants because in between them an intermediate was zamindars. So whatever the British government has to say with the peasants, it was conveyed to the zamindars only. And next point was the right of the cultivators were totally ignored and they were left at the mercy of zamindars. Since the zamindars were the intermediate between the British East India Company as well as the peasants, the zamindars used to ignore each and every rights of the peasants, okay. So they don't pay the enough amount of money given by the British government to the peasants, okay. So that was an demerit. And the next demerit was the peasants were almost treated as serfs, okay. So peasants were not at all respected by the zamindar peoples, okay. They were always treated as servants only, okay, and they were not given enough amount of money for which they give their cultivatable products, okay. And next point is the system was made the zamindars lethargic and also luxurious. Lethargic means very laziness and luxurious means a person who survives a very lavish life, like spending a lot of amount of money, okay. So that life was given to the zamindars under this permanent settlement method, okay. So next point is many conflicts between the zamindars and also the peasants arose in rural Bengal, okay. That is in the rural part of Bengal. since the zamindars and the peasants were not having a good understanding, and because of their misunderstanding problems like not giving and providing the important rights of the peasants too, and not being in contact with the peasant and the British government, many conflicts and many problems came, okay, in between the zamindars as well as the peasants, and that was major in case of the rural part of Bengal. So do your QB work and also your test questions very sincerely and do submit it on time. Okay, ma, then stay safe and also take care of yourself. Thank you.